Charlotte, North Carolina is known for Big Banks, cold beer, and vinegar-based barbecue. They call it the Queen City. Tonight, we take a look at the new king. For the very first time, Biff Poggi leads the Charlotte 49ers into the 2023 football season. Swag Bear. Should I say Swag Poggi? What about this, huh?
This is outstanding. You know, I gotta say, out of all Group of 5 schools, this might be the most anticipated spring game for 2023.
Ain't no doubt.
And apparently, I'm getting a lot of talk about my shirt here. I had this in my closet, and apparently this is pretty known around here. A little V-neck,
I think you pull it off better than Poggi does.
There's
myself.
no doubt about it.
Yeah, I've known you for a long time, and you have had that.
I started working out 2 weeks ago, and you can actually tell.
I think you look great.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are fired up to be here, Charlotte. Couple shout-outs to get this started. First of all, shout-out Lauren, Becca, Scarlett, Michaela, our wives. Thank you for letting us have a guys' weekend. We're actually working. I swear to God, we're working.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you.
Shout out to Jimmy and Rob and all of these outstanding fans behind us in the Normulance, letting us set up shop right here.
How many tailgates have an ambulance?
One.
I just know of one.
It's the only one I know of.
I know of one. For those of you that don't know who we are the Group of 5 guys. Our goal is to bring the hype and the recognition to the Group of 5 football programs that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to do. How can you help us? Hang out with us here today. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to group-of-5guys.com, get you some swag, and you can follow all of our podcasts on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Group of 5 Guys. Jeff Murphy, Charlotte 49ers. What are we going to do on offense? How are we replacing Reynolds and DeBose, pal?
Well, first we got an interview that we dropped on Friday with new head coach Biff Poggi, and it's going to be a new look 49ers, especially on offense. They loaded up in the transfer portal.
Yep.
8 new offensive linemen, and the words he used were huge. They're going to be massive up front. They want to pound the ball on offense and then go play action, go over the top with their quarterback and receiver. So it's going to be different than what we've seen in the Will Healy era.
Yeah, we get 3 returning starters on the O-line, 8, like you said, Division I transfer offensive linemen, 3 Big Ten guys. So you want to talk about size, as much as we hate on the Big Ten, they're big.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got those corn-fed boys. They're coming down here, and they're gonna anchor that O-line and really trying to pound the rock. Running back, fullback. They're gonna go right at defenses, and then we'll talk about the defense a little bit later. But he had some pretty good things to say about that as well.
Well, 100%, and you're going to have a lot of depth there. And one thing that we see in the Group of 5 all the time, especially towards the middle or the end of the season, after you've played some non-conference games, injuries.
Yep.
You got 8 transfers, you got 3 starters, so you got 11 deep at least on the O-line.
Exactly, and you're trying to replace Chris Reynolds, who's here for 6 years. Xavier Williams, he played in 5 games last year. He looked pretty good at times. Other times he looked a little erratic. But hopefully this full offseason, coming in with a new offensive coordinator, he'll be able to get some time under his belt. But Poggi also mentioned they're going to rotate guys. Each guy does things a little bit differently in that room, and whoever's the hot hand or can do certain things at the right time, they're going to use them. So expect a rotation at the quarterback position. I'm excited to see who has the greatest game today in the spring game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, we talk about it all the time about teams going multiple quarterbacks, and
I'm not a fan
typically
of
we don't
it,
like
but-
it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's hard for the quarterbacks to get in the rhythm of the game, feel the game out, but we'll see how much they do that rotation once the season starts. But, I mean, sometimes they do rotations because they're not exactly sure who is the guy.
Yeah.
So maybe one of these guys can separate themselves today and in the rest of fall camp, and we'll see who's the starter at the start of the season.
Well, before we dig a little bit more into the defense and the rest of the offense, let's talk Biff.
Yeah.
Let's talk Poggi. Let's talk Biff Poggi.
Love Biff Poggi.
Number one, the guy walks through this tailgate and the place goes nuts. I mean, like Jesse said, the hype around this, I mean, the V-neck, the sleeves, the cigar. What do you think, Swag?
My total win count for the Charlotte 49ers went up 2 wins when I saw the guy carrying a cigar coming through the tailgate.
Big time South.
Guy's a swag. He's a swag bear, if you will. And I love him. I love him. Whenever I put my arms around him, I smelled that smoke.
Oh, yeah.
I smelled that smoke. And that's going to be some wins, baby. That's going to be some wins.
I'm going to say something controversial here. That guy is everything that you want to be.
I think so. If I was ever take the route of being like a GA after MTSU, I think somehow in my future I'd have been that guy. And that's a compliment.
Well, and you watch if you watch the HBO documentary about him at St. Francis, Obviously, a ton of success there, a ton of success everywhere he's been. And you got 40-plus transfers, did he tell us, coming to this team? 20-something of them played for him at St. Francis. So, I don't know. We'll see how they pan out. But like you talked about, Jeff, the cohesion of having all those guys. I mean, what do you think?
Absolutely. And when you're taking over a program, you want to instill your culture in that program. So having all those players from St. Francis that know him, that are bought in, it's going to help everyone else get in line and understand how he wants to do things. So it's going to play dividends down the road. And there's just a buzz here at Charlotte. People are fired up about Poggi, what he brings, and his winning culture that he's had pretty much everywhere he's gone.
Well, after last year, they're probably pretty excited to have some change,
Well, there's no question about it. And, a lot of those guys, it's interesting because I was watching the show and you see the guys, when they're high schoolers and they're big-time recruits, man. 4 stars, 5 stars. They're going every brand name school across the country, and a lot of them are right here in Charlotte, North Carolina here today, and we should see them on the field tonight.
They're going to look like the Space Jam. They're going to turn into Monstars overnight. These guys are going to be big, physical, and I'm excited to see it.
Well, that says a lot about Biff as a coach, though, doesn't it? You have all these guys wanting to come back and play for him.
100%.
So that should bring a lot of excitement to these fans for this upcoming season and their first year in the American Conference. So we've looked at the schedule, boys. It's a tough schedule. So it's going to be interesting, but what a perfect year for him to come in, bring his guys in here for their first year in the American Conference.
Well, and you see a few of these transfers that have been, at multiple schools and, for whatever reason, but you have to know that they love Coach Poggi and he loves them, and there's a relationship there, and you hope where maybe it didn't work out somewhere else, that it works out here for that 5th, or some of these guys, it's like their 6th or 7th year in college. I mean, these guys are 30 years old. Where are we at, BYU?
Taking the extra years to go on their mission trip. But, you get that many guys coming into the portal, you're not going to miss on every single one of them.
Yeah.
So they might not have worked in other places. They might not work here, but you got to think a lot of those guys are going to work. They fit the bill. They look the part.
Yeah.
They look bigger than they've ever looked. So it's going to see if it pays off.
Well, yeah, go ahead. So I know where you're going. You walked into the hotel.
I did walk into the hotel, and they were Monstars. They were huge. No, I'm saying, but some of these players, these prime athletes that went to your Power 5 schools, some of these guys, they respond to a certain coaching style, and Poggi is that style, and that's why they're here. And I think that big things ahead for Charlotte. Big things ahead, and I think Charlotte is such a good location for this place to grow even more. It's new chapter, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, and I'll say too about the city of Charlotte, and we came here 2 or 3 years ago. We saw the facilities; they've got great facilities. Coach talked about it on our interview with him. The city of Charlotte, with all of the opportunities outside of football for these guys, you can recruit here. But one thing I'm going to say about Charlotte is it's got to be the only major market college football program where the students and the fans show up like they do here.
100%.
I mean, you can't get this at a lot of the the smaller towns, smaller college communities. You don't get this kind of crowd.
Yeah, when we came 2 years ago, we saw it firsthand. They were playing Middle Tennessee, our alma mater, and the fans were exactly what they needed to be, heckling the visiting team on the sideline,
heckling us
when we were trying to be neutral.
Yeah.
But they were awesome. It was a packed house. I know towards the end of the season last year, it kind of dwindled off, but that's kind of what you get when you have a losing season. You lose games against William and Mary and teams like that. So this student base is fired up. We've talked to a handful of them here today, and they're ready to cheer on the 49ers.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the quarterbacks. Wide receiver, man, Dubose. We saw him down at the Senior Bowl. That guy, first of all, that guy's going to get drafted, and it's going to be a steal wherever he ends up because it's probably going to be late. But coming back, you only have 10 combined catches. Yeah. But you got a bunch of transfers, and you got some injuries returning.
You got 3 Power 5 wide receiver transfers, I feel like they're coming in.
Yeah, you got a bunch, and you just wonder, if they can run the ball with that O-line, with Shadrick Burda running back, with some of these guys, you'd like to think there's going to be some opportunities for these new guys.
Yeah, I would think so, and they're tall. Yeah. They're real tall. All the transfers they've got in. Jaden Bradley, he's the Pitt transfer. He's 6'4", and that's what you want. When you pound the rock, you go play action, you're going to get one-on-one on the outsides. And that's where you throw those deep posts, those go routes, and give your guy a chance, and he's going to make a play for you. Tip, who are you kind of keeping your eye on in that receiver room?
I'm looking at Ike White from Minnesota. This is a kid that came from St. Francis High School. He was just at Minnesota just for his freshman year, so I think he's a redshirt freshman here coming to Charlotte. Didn't play last year at Minnesota. He lines up in the slot and also on the outside. That was in high school. He's 5'11", 185, so he's probably going to mostly be in the slot, but he's quick. He runs great routes. He has really good hands, and he makes those contested catches, just what you were talking about, Murph. When you go play action and you're going looking downfield, you need someone that can go up and get the ball and make those contested catches.
100%. So what about our running back? Bird's coming back. He's the leading rusher from a year ago. That guy's a stud, but they got some new guys coming in too, Jeff.
Yeah, they're really high on Darrell Robinson. He's a freshman coming in, and they think this kid can do it all. I mean, he's fast, he's shifty, he makes good reads when he's reading through the offensive line. But having Shadrick Byrd coming back, I mean, he was your top rusher last year, and he caught the ball very well out of the backfield as well. So having that veteran leadership that was here last year, then adding some young new talent in the backfield is only going to help this offense. And like I said, if those big boys up front, they can figure it out and really get to moving the line of scrimmage, I mean, it doesn't matter who you have back there. You just hand the ball off, and there's going to be huge holes.
Well, I want to go to the defensive line for a second because that's where Coach said they're going to be the best. So, again, if you watch the HBO documentary, there's a fella named John Wallace that 5 years ago on that documentary, they were giving him, saying he's got to lose some weight. I don't think he did. He comes in as a JUCO transfer, 6'3", 394. And then they got another kid, Katron Evans, also both of these guys St. Francis guys, but a Jackson State transfer, 6'4", 320. I mean, you want to stop the run, I mean, you put 700 pounds in the middle, that'll help.
Yeah, having that beef right up the middle. I mean, I don't know too many center and guard combos that can combine move all that weight. So they're going to stop the inside run.
You know,
and then just a couple.
I know one. I know a center right here. Jesse Swagbear Grisham could do it. No questions asked.
Absolutely.
A little dirty play, they'll get out of the way.
But no, having those run stoppers in the middle, if they can, get in shape and contribute. But I mean, he talked highly about the edge rushers in our
100%.
interview. So they think that's their most talented position is those edge rushers coming off the edge, being able to control the pocket, and get after these quarterbacks in the American. There's not a lot of teams that really go under center. Most of these teams in the American they spread it out 4 or 5 wide. So you have got to be able to get home with your front 4, depending on which kind of front they run, and get after the quarterback. And then if you can do that, it just makes the secondary's job that much easier.
I mean, look at that edge room. I'm just looking at 5-star from Michigan, 4-star Notre Dame, 4-star Ole Miss. I mean, they got the talent, man.
I watched the interview, and I'll admit I did my homework late, so I didn't really start researching the transfer portal. And I heard what Poggi was saying about having a top defensive line in the country, talking about how they're going to be one of the best defenses in the country. And I'm thinking, this guy's in banks for a reason. He's a good salesman. He's over here just trying to sell the world. I start looking at these players, and when I think of Power 5 transfers, I'm more think of guys that, hey, well, he wasn't performing at that school. That's not really the case with these guys. These guys are guys that may have gotten in some trouble, made some mistakes, and they're here on their last leg, and they're probably going to make some big plays here for Charlotte. And I cannot wait to see these guys play against, the Florida Gators at Florida, because Florida might be expecting the Charlotte 49ers of last year, and then they're going to see the Monstars are going to come in there and maybe shock the world. It's going to be great.
You'd be like Michael Jordan drinking the H2O there at halftime. Here comes Charlotte next year.
Charlotte, Michael Jordan.
Bad owner. Great player, poor owner. Anyway, yeah, but you look at those guys, and one guy I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for Damon Clowney because that guy, if you watch the documentary, obviously you don't know. I don't know the kid. I don't know his family or anything. But it looked like that kid has been through hell and back, and you're just rooting so hard for that guy to make it here. He kind of got screwed at the end of that at LSU with them kind of dropping an offer. Goes to Ole Miss, comes back to play for Coach here at Charlotte. Look out. I can't wait to see him tonight.
Yeah, and especially a kid like that, it seemed like he was big on trust. It's hard for him to open up and trust somebody, but he trusts Poggi. So
Yeah.
I think him coming back is a testament to Poggi and the relationship that he builds. And shoot, if you get a top recruit like that to come in and play hard for you, sometimes that's half the battle. It's just getting a kid to buy in and play hard because he's got the physical tools. So, I mean, Poggi used the term elite.
That's what he said.
He said
his
elite
words, not mine.
defense. He thinks top 10. Could be coach talk.
I rolled my eyes when I first heard it. I did, and now I I might be a little bit of a believer. Maybe not top 10. I mean, top 25 for sure, I think. With
Well,
the talent they have.
what I will say is here in a couple hours, last spring we went to see Troy.
That's true.
And we walked away that night and said, let me tell you something, that defense is going to be all-time great. So we'll let you know.
They were all time great, and they won the conference. I'm not going to say it was because a group of 5 guys were
it
there at the
was.
spring game.
It was.
But Charlotte,
they were good.
be ready.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to have good luck where we go. You know, we watch a spring game, we give you the predictions. And,
And we always know, like I was telling the fans here, I said, the only way it's a good spring game is that the offense puts up 60 points total and the defense has a horrible day. The defense has a great game. You know, your team may be looking at a 5-5 year.
no, but that's what we said at Troy. You remember?
Oh, I know,
we were like,
I know.
boy, that offense is not very
Summerall
good.
was
but it
losing
that
his
defense.
mind at the spring game, yet you know he had a top-tier defense.
Well, and to that point, Xavier Williams, the quarterback that played last year, he actually made that same exact comment. He said, I feel like I'm going up against the best defense in the country.
Yep.
We're seeing every look. We're seeing tight coverage. So that's only going to benefit the offense. If that defense is elite, like he says, that's only going to prepare the offense in spring ball and in the fall camp to get ready for these teams in the American.
Well, let's talk about these teams in the American, and let's talk about this schedule because, boy, that front half is not easy. I mean, you open up South Carolina State, chalk it up, okay, right? You're at Maryland. You're home against a big physical Georgia State team. They always are, especially early in the year.
Yep.
Then you're at Florida. You're at SMU, who also loaded up in the portal. And then you're home versus Navy, who, you know, whether they were bad or not last year, they're physical as hell.
How often does Charlotte play the triple option?
That's right.
So that's where I have a toss-up game. Talked to Tipton about it at lunch. It could be a toss-up. This team reminds me of Gus Malzahn's first year. He had all those transfers coming in, all those Auburn 5-stars on the D-line. They couldn't stop Navy. I'm interested to see how that game turns out.
But
I
with
will
the-
admit, I do have Navy as a win. I have Navy beating Charlotte.
Yeah,
this year.
with Navy, you know what they're going to do on offense, right? You have to play disciplined defense. Those edge rushers, those elite edge rushers that we're talking about, they got to be disciplined against that triple option. Same thing with the front. If they can play physical, the physical brand of football that Biff is talking to us about, then I agree with you, Jesse. I have that game as a win as well.
Well, you know, I don't want to take the whole time on Navy here, but one thing is about those edge rushers is you ain't rushing the passer when you play Navy. You better stay at the line of scrimmage. So that's where they've got to be very careful. And then them two big boys in the middle, they're going to get cut block all night long. So they're going to have to be in some shape. They better hope they got some depth up there for that game.
Yeah, and they got to go to East Carolina. That's going to be a tough game too. So their schedule's very front-loaded. I'm not sure if East Carolina is going to be able to reload. They lost a lot of talent, including their top player Keaton Mitchell last year. So replacing that guy is going to be tough. But I mean, that's a front-loaded, heavy schedule. If you can get through the front part of that schedule, though,
that's right.
Your back half's looking pretty good now.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing we said last year with our alma mater, with Middle Tennessee. We looked at the schedule preseason, said, oh, boy, it's going to be a tough start. But then the back half of it, they rattled off 5 out of 6 to make a bowl and then win a bowl. They went an 8-win season, which is fantastic, you know, for a team to start 2-4, 2-5, or whatever they started. Now, I'm not saying, Coach, don't come back over here. I'm not saying y'all are going to start that, but I'm just saying you got a tough schedule. So fans, stick with them no matter what happens in the first half of that season.
Yeah, don't be one of those irrational fans that if they drop a couple tough games in the beginning, that you abandon them for the rest of the season.
Well,
you got to stay in it for the long haul. You got to show up and support, especially the students. When they play at home and that student section is electric like it was 2 years ago,
It's a
when we
difference
came,
maker.
It is. It's a huge difference maker.
Well, luckily, Florida will lose their top pick quarterback.
Oh,
and,
stop.
You know, has replaced
Jeez.
that primal talent.
Yeah,
And,
I just hope my Oakland or my Las Vegas Raiders stay far away from Anthony Richardson.
I don't know why, dude. The guy can bungee jump.
My Titans are the betting
Broad jump.
favorites right now to get him. So
I think the Carolina Panthers need a quarterback. Well, speaking of fans, first of all, I got to say, when we came in the fall for that game, it was a post-COVID year, so the students were shut down from tailgating. I'm going to say right now, this tailgate here for a spring football game we lucked out with beautiful, beautiful weather, but it was supposed to be bad. This is a great tailgate for a spring game. You don't see a lot of Group of 5 spring games like this.
I think this weather proves that God loves football and God misses football, and he will see some good football played today.
There ain't no doubt. And he loves Group of 5 football, which is real college football, like we always say. Before we go any further, we talked about the fans. Can we get Jimmy and Rob over here, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get him.
We need Jimmy Touchstone and Rob over here. That
Would you like me to provide my mic?
yes, please.
And these guys have been gracious enough to open up their tailgate, let us come and hang out with them. We met them 2 years ago, and
Well,
they're just awesome guys. It was that COVID year, so
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of student tailgating, but I mean, we just had a great time, become good friends.
you're on live, Jimmy.
Well, worse things have happened.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, these guys, we had some weather. It started raining a little bit. We had to bring the tent over. We had to cover up the technology stuff. We got these guys. If you were wondering why it took them a little bit to get over here, hey,
Guys,
guys,
Niner Nation.
we got Rob. If you see the ambulance behind us here, aka the Normbulance, that's his. He used to own 2 of them at one point. Traded one in for a
Dune buggy.
for a dead bird. And
Pretty much.
and you got Jimmy Touchstone over here.
Hey, Niner Nation.
So, Rob, let me start with you. Where do you get the idea of buying an ambulance? Where do you buy one? And how do you convert it into a tailgating unit?
All right, so you guys know we've only been playing football since 2013, right?
That's right.
All right, so I'll take you guys back to about 2009, and we knew we were going to have 40,000 students at this university, and we didn't have a football team. And so, a bunch of alumni, there was me and 10 or 11 other guys. We got together and said, what do we need to do to put pressure on our athletic administration to start football, right? We had been in a conference with Cincinnati, with Louisville, with Memphis, and we were stuck in the A-10 because we didn't have football. So we decided to push the envelope, and we got it on a student ballot, so the students voted to approve a fee for football and all this other stuff. But I told my buddies, I said, if this drive for football works, I'll buy us something really cool to tailgate out of. Because honestly, I didn't think it was going to work, right? and then, surprise, the chancellor goes, all right, we'll start a football team. And my buddies looked at me and they're like, all right, dude, what's up? And so I said, all right, well, I guess we'll buy something. And I thought about an ambulance. I looked at an Army truck. I looked at a big giant bus, but I kept coming back to the ambulance because it parks in a regular spot. So I could tailgate Panther games. I could do other stuff with it. And then one of my buddies said, oh, if you get an ambulance, we can name it the Normbulance. And I was like, that's even better. And so I was all in. And at one point I told my wife, I was like, you know what, if maybe we could get by with like an RV or something.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, no, you've been talking about an ambulance for 5 damn years. You're buying an ambulance. And I was like, all right, let's go. And so I bought my first ambulance off of Craigslist of all places. And it was a gas powered, for you guys that know motors, it was a 454 Chevrolet. It got big motor. Got 5 miles to the gallon. I spent $300 going to JMU for our first ever road game. And I came back and I told my wife, I was like, the gas powered ambulance ain't cutting it. We're moving up to a diesel.
There you go.
And so that's the one that I've got now. So,
Rob,
so
is
yeah,
that
it's a
why
good time.
we keep having to raise money for you?
Yes, because the ambulance costs damn money.
Well, let me go over to you, Jimmy. So behind you see the pickaxe, the world famous pickaxe. They got 2 of them.
Version 2 with Group of 5.
You can't beat that.
Hey,
guys,
you can't beat that with the
logo.
AAC logo on
There you
it.
go.
All right.
And 2 ambulances, 2 pickaxes.
There you go.
So give us the rundown on the pickaxe. Where'd that come from?
Well, I mean, anybody who tailgates, you feel like you have to have an implement to make yourself drink faster, apparently. But it was beautiful the day that I was making this in my garage, and my wife came out and said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm making a drinking implement. And she said, I wish you cared about our yard as much as you cared about the tailgating. And I said, I wish I did too. So, hey.
Hold this thing up so we can get a good look at it.
All right.
And now, what's the tradition behind this? So you guys do this for every home game or every game.
So
you
we
tailgate,
actually
right?
have 2 traditions. One is we drink out of the pickaxe. Anybody's welcome. By the way, if you don't feel like drinking alcohol, you don't have to. I don't know why you wouldn't, but but hey, it's all about community. Everybody come together. Everybody's welcome to the axe, right? That's our tradition. It happens all during the tailgate. The great tradition that Rob started is at the end of every tailgate, right before it's time to go in, he does the Niner toast. And that's what he's kind of got in front of you there. Niner Schlager. I don't even know what's in it, but he picked somebody to do the toast. And it is a tradition that is not stopped since the day he started it. And we've had some short toast. We've had some long toast. Sorry, Rob. And I tell you what, people come from, they stop what they're doing at their tailgates. They come over here, we pass them out, and we toast the day. Win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and I see Rob pouring a bunch of them right now, so I think
Hey.
you got enough wonderful fans behind us. Maybe, Rob, you want to do a quick toast?
Oh yeah,
You guys-
Hey,
absolutely.
Niner Nation,
Hey,
what
guys
you
do
got?
the-
Come on
do the
in.
shot.
Hey, we can pass them out here. We can pass them out.
We'll pass them on back here.
I won't tell you what the secret mixture is, but it's Niner Schlager. That's what we call it, green and gold. Got some gold flakes in here. Yeah, so we went down to Clemson. We played at Clemson, and Jimmy's whole family are all Clemson people except for Jimmy. He's the black sheep.
Well,
and Jimmy proceeded to give us like a 45-minute toast.
I had a lot to say.
You had a whole lot of something that day. But our tradition usually is about an hour before game time. We do a Niner Slugger shot, and like Jimmy said, we invite everybody, all the tailgates around, to come down here and do one of these for us. And we always have a guest toaster. But we'll go ahead and give one right here, Jimmy, to you, to Niner Nation, and more than anything to the group of five guys.
Group of five.
Oh, here, you're standing right there, and you don't have one. Brother, you're just sitting there looking at me.
I'm on the air.
You're supposed to be like, hey,
he's
I
giving
don't
you the
have
fake
one.
drinks.
Oh, this is the Gatorade?
It's the-
Yeah, that's the Gatorade.
All right, no
A
problem.
new flavor.
Yeah, no problem.
But
you think we need another one?
okay, do we need another? I can keep pouring. I mean, this is normal.
One more, I
One
guess.
more. Hey, here, you want one? Okay.
When in Rome.
Hey,
you
this
know,
is
as
how.
they say.
Hey, winning rum.
win
I
it.
saw it apparently.
There's no
All
way
right.
you're
Oh, you got a big one. All right,
that's what she
so
said.
folks, this is to Niner Nation. This is the Biff Poggi, a new start for the Charlotte 49ers, and this is to the group of five guys. We love having you guys here. We love having y'all in Charlotte. I know you guys support all the G5 programs, and that is awesome. We all thank you for that. But more than anything, y'all know, right? Y'all know, Charlotte's where it's at. Right. All right. Right here to 49ers to Charlotte. Let's go, baby. All right. Niners. All right. Thank y'all.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys so much for letting the group of five guys hang out with you. He here?
Hold on. Is this
Get him
Bill?
over.
I thought this was Bill.
I'm telling you, I think he pulls it off better than Biff does.
I don't know a lot of people that can pull it off, but we got two of them right here in
dangerous
Charlotte, North
weapon.
Carolina.
You know, be careful with. Put somebody's eye out with that thing, Swaggy.
Hey, do you have $500 million too?
Most dangerous tailgate there is.
I can say he does not.
It's because all that gambling.
He tells us he doesn't, but he doesn't hide it very well. My God, dude. Hey, thank you guys so much for letting us hang out in Charlotte,
Appreciate
North
you guys.
Carolina. Good luck to the 49ers this year. Coach Poggi, Tom, Jimmy, Rob, everybody, thank you
and
so
we
much.
could not do this show without my main man, Josh Murphy.
There's no question about it.
Producer doing the audio.
Hey, did y'all talk
video
about
today.
that you went through? Okay.
You brought the 10 over.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. I mean, that was big time for y'all.
I was huge time.
Yeah. I just want to give you props. You made it through the ring.
They didn't melt.
No.
We
I
ain't
felt
wearing
like
makeup.
Lieutenant
This
Dan
ain't
at Forrest Gump when he's on the
ESPN.
boat.
Yeah. But hey, if you guys want to help us, make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Find the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We actually do have some merch, group-of-5guys.com. You can get a sweatshirt like Swag Bear's wearing there. It's not already
Yeah,
pre-cut
not
for you.
Hey, that's a custom.
Maybe someday we'll get a licensing deal here in Charlotte. But that's all we got for you guys. Let's have a hell of a time. Let's get this tailgate cranked up.
Charlotte by 100.
We're out of here.